and curses are called down on you. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. Where you recognize evil, call it evil, and give no truce to your enemies. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. Never be made glad by wickedness, but please yourself with good things. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. You should never look upwards in battle. Men's sons become madmen, and many people may try to bewitch you. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. If you want to talk a good woman into secret love with you, and to get pleasure from her, make fair promises and keep them well. No man tires of good if he can get it. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. I tell you to be cautious, but not overcautious. Be most wary of ale and of another's wife, and thirdly, lest thieves beguile you. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. Never hold up to scorn or mockery a guest or a wanderer. Often they don't know for certain, they who sit inside, whose kin those newcomers are. And no man is so good that he has no blemish, nor so bad that he is good for nothing. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. At a gray-haired sage you should never laugh. Often what the old say is good. Often from a wrinkled bag comes judicious words. From the one who hangs around with the hides and skulks among the skins and lurks about the lowborn. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. Don't bark at your guests or drive them from your gate. Treat the indigent well. Mighty is that door bar which has to move aside to open up for everyone. Give a ring, or they'll be called down on you, a curse in every limb. I advise you, Lord Fafnir, to take this advice. It will be useful if you learn it. Do you good if you have it. Where you drink ale, choose yourselves earth's power, for earth soaks up drunkenness, and fire works against sickness. Oak against constipation, an ear of corn against witchcraft. The hall against household strife, for hatred the moon should be invoked. Earthworms for inflamed parts, and runes against evil. Land must take up the flood. I know that I hung on a windswept tree 9 long nights, wounded with a spear, dedicated to Odin, myself, to myself, on that tree of which no man knows from where its roots run. With no bread did they refresh me, nor drink from a horn. Downwards I peered. I took up the runes, screaming I took them, then I fell back from there. 9 mighty spells I learnt from the famous son of Bolthor, Bessa's father, and I got a drink of that precious mead, I soaked from Ordirir. Then I began to quicken and be wise, and to grow and to prosper. One word from another word found a word for me. One deed from another deed found a deed for me. Runes you must find, and meaningful letters, very great letters, very stiff letters, which the mighty sage colored, and the huge powers made, and the rune master of the gods carved out. Odin among the Aesir, and Dane among the elves, Davlin among the dwarves, Asvid among the giants. I myself carved some. Do you know how to carve? Do you know how to interpret? Do you know how to color? Do you know how to question? Do you know how to ask? Do you know how to sacrifice? Do you know how to dispatch? Do you know how to slaughter? Better not to pray than to sacrifice too much. One gift always calls for another. Better not dispatch than too many slaughtered. So Thun carved before the close of nation's history. When he rose up, when he came back, I know those spells which a ruler's wife doesn't know, nor any man's son. Help, one is called, and that it will help you against lawsuits and sorrows and every sort of anxiety. I know a second one which the sons of men need, those who want to live as physicians. I know a third one, if there's great need for me, that my furious enemies are fettered. The edges of my foes I can blunt, neither weapons nor cudgels will bite for them. I know a fourth one, if men put bonds upon my limbs, I can chant so that I can walk away, fetters spring from my feet, and chains from my hands. I know a fifth, if I see, shot in malice, an arrow fly amid the army. It cannot fly so hard that I cannot hinder it if I see it with my eyes. I know a sixth one, if a man wounds me, using roots of the sap-filled wood, and that man who conjured to harm me, and evil consumes him, not me. I know a seventh one, if I see towering flames in the hall about my companions. It can't burn so widely that I can't counteract it. I know the spells to chant. I know an eighth one, which is most useful for everyone to acquire. Where hatred flares up between the sons of warriors, then I can quickly bring settlement. I know a ninth one, if I am in need, if I must save my ship when afloat. The wind I can quiet upon the wave, and lull all the sea to sleep. I know a tenth one, if I see witches playing up in the air. I can bring it about that they wander astray from their shapes left at home, from their minds left at home. I know an 11th, if I have to lead long loyal friends into battle. Under the shields I chant, and they journey confidently, safely to the battle, safely from the battle, safely they come back from everywhere. I know a 12th one, if I see, up in a tree, a dangling corpse in a noose. I can so carve and color the runes that the man walks and talks with me. I know a 13th, if I must pour water over a young warrior, he will not fall though he goes into battle before swords that man will not sink. I know a 14th, if I have to reckon up the gods before a group of men. Of a seer and elves I know every detail. Few who are not wise know that. I know a 15th, which the dwarf Thordirir chanted before Deling's door. Power he sang for the Asir and the advancement for the elves. Thoughtfulness to Hraptardir. I know a 16th, if I want to have all a clever woman's heart and love play. I can turn the thought of the white-armed woman and change her mind entirely. I know a 17th, that any young woman will scarcely want to shun me. Of these spells, Lord Fafnir, you will long be in want, though they'd be good for you if you get them, useful if you learn them, handy if you have them. I know an 18th, which I shall never teach to any girl or any man's wife. It's always better when just one person knows, that follows at the end of the spells, except that one woman who embraces me in her arms, or who may be my sister. Now the High One's song is recited in the High One's hall, very useful to the sons of men, quite useless to the sons of men. Luck to him who recited, luck to him who knows. May he benefit, he who learnt it, luck to those who listened. And that was Sayings of the High One, also known as the Havamal. Until the next time, good day.